Here we
You blew it! You blew it! This man was a bona fide scrub.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Oh, poor you.
I'm funny how? I'm funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you. I make you laugh. I'm here to fucking amuse you. What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
stupid.
Yes, sir. This is the Participation Trophy Podcast, and you are listening to episode number 36.
Ooh.
You,
I dig that.
you know I had to do that right. Yeah, there was no way I'm letting any opportunity to tie in a Wu-Tang reference slide on the show, and that's just not going to happen. We are back on the mic, the fabulous foursome here, comprised of three brown dudes, myself, Abdullah, Zain Zaidi, Neil Dalal, and our lone black correspondent, Jamal, who I'm so proud of being inclusive of on this podcast. I like to think of it as a measure of compromise on behalf of all the Middle Eastern cab drivers who've ignored you hailing for them on the street just because you were black. Has that ever actually happened to you?
I don't know, man. I don't know if I would know if I got ignored, honestly. I've never been like blatantly like sped past with my hand out, but I may have gotten a motherfucking early turn off the street because, you know, they didn't want to hurt my feelings too much.
Man, it's like that little slow down to just check the passenger real quick and then speed back off. The black dude just kicks the back of the cab as it drives away. You know, my dad probably showed up to the pearly gates and your pops turned around, sees his ass like, that's the motherfucker that drove past me on McPherson Square back in '85.
Not McPherson Square.
Oh man,
this is where Neil jumps in and says McPherson Square was not actually intact in 1985. It wasn't come into existence until 1992 when John McPherson.
Dog.
I wish I had that kind of stuff to pull out.
Just off the bat, yeah. Remember, he's only a Wizards Alexa, so
yeah,
that's true. That's true.
I'm growing.
Out of Verizon Center, out of his jurisdiction.
Kwame Brown got shot in McPherson Square. If that's what you want to get.
Oh shit. Yeah. Nevertheless, rest in peace to our dads for real. It's a great time to bring up our dads. Father's Day came and went this past weekend, and it was good. It was hectic for me as usual. 2 kids, 2 families partaking in 2 separate events. Father's Day for me is kind of fun because I get to pull out like my playful inner chauvinistic patriarch ultra ego, and it drives my wife crazy, right? Like you just for no reason just feel like an elitist. Like come over here, woman, to take off my socks. For no reason. It's only been like a handful of years where I'm the one being celebrated. Growing up, obviously, we celebrated my dad, but it's only been 4 or 5 years since like the focus has been on me as well on Father's Day. It's like it's different from birthdays because your birthday is inevitable, right? But like being a father is a choice, like you had a choice to pull out or keep it in, whatever. But and not every dad deserves to be celebrated. So but my day actually started with my wife being cute. She got real cute this year.
Okay.
Set up a little scavenger hunt that involves Zara with like little clues that actually led to a brand new set of top flight golf clubs. So
wow.
Saddle up, motherfuckers. That PTP golf extravaganza coming soon.
Let's go. You'll join me out on the driving range.
Capped off the day with a winery session out in Hillsborough with Mary's family.
Is that winery with an H?
It might as well have been 2 dogs, 2 infants, 4 toddlers.
Partridge in the pear tree.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it was hot as fuck too. Like how was that?
It was very hot. It was very hot. It was very natty. A lot of gnats were out there. Luckily, we had gotten an indoor space, but it was nice. I do wineries a lot, so this is one of our favorite ones out in Hillsborough, which is down by Front Royal. So, and in the evening, capped off with my family. That's how you see this little fresh ass Wizards cap,
Sweet,
Mitchell and Ness junk.
Nice.
The old gold and blue mid '90s joint or late '90s joint. So, Jamal, I mean, if there was ever a boy dad movement on social media, like you got to be the driver of that shit. How was your day with your fellas, man?
It was sweet, man. I went and picked up my kids. They were with their mom this past weekend, but we have a thing where I get them all day Father's Day. She gets them all day Mother's Day. You know, if it happens to fall that way with our time together. So
should be the reverse.
What's that?
My bad.
Scooped them and everybody. My family came down to my house. I didn't really want to go out anywhere. Had a really fucked up experience like 3 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. We tried to go to a crab spot down in Dumfries, like right on the water. It's a kind of old, like, you know, like think of like a restaurant like on the beach, like not super kept up super well, but the authenticity is that it's, you know, kind of like a shack almost. Bro, it was so many fucking people there. The heat was off the hook. There's no central air. It's fucking flies coming in.
Where's
like casually laying. This is in Dumfries. I forget the
Dumfries, okay.
Spot. Yeah, it's right by like railroad tracks. So
that's one of the worst feelings ever when you're trying to eat good food and it's fucking just hot and there's bugs and shit.
When you come in and the server, you ask her, you say, we got a party of 4, and the server kind of winces a little bit like, like, if you want to wait, or they tell you to wait before you even tell them how many in your party, like just to let you know, it's about an hour and 45. So we tried to hang with it, but it just didn't work. So I said, after that, I want to be just chilling. So my family brought food here. We got some Famous Dave's barbecue, real dad shit, like fucking barbecue on Father's Day. Like, what's fucking with that, right? Just as long as I don't have to fucking cook, right?
Right.
We had food, decorated, and you know, got a couple gifts and just chill. We kind of combined Father's Day with my son, you know, graduating, quote unquote, from elementary school going to middle school.
Oh, sweet.
So we finally got the family down for that, and it was cool, man. I got some nice gifts. I got a magnet based like rotating shoe design. You ever seen this thing before where you kind of
saw your
floats?
IG
yeah,
story.
You saw the story. Yeah. Got one of those. I got like a little kind of canopy to grill outside, because when I grill like in my driveway in the back, I get fucking baked like goddamn like I'm in Egypt and shit. Just get fried in the back of the house. So got a little canopy thing. You know, I got some other stuff. It was chill, man. I got a gift card to my favorite spa. I got to set up an appointment to go back there. I haven't been there in a minute. This is my birthday last year. So it was cool, man. It was everything I would ask for: family, good ass food, and some gifts.
I'm just glad for my sake, for my culture, like that gift giving has evolved from what it was when we were kids and what we used to give our dads. Like it was the same bottle of Brute aftershave. That we got my dad.
Like some socks.
Yes.
A fucking apron that says "Number One Dad." Like
exactly. Not even that, bro. It was the same, like generic, like just like
a fucking paper wheel of certificates, like I washed the dishes or some shit.
Yeah,
I did laundry.
I washed the car. Yeah,
the coupon book.
The coupon book.
Yeah. I mean, so.
Imagine if like school was in when Father's Day, and they would have like a Father's Day like Secret Santa type shop, and you get like the shittiest things, like, you know, paper slippers and shit like that.
Yeah. No, we've talked about it before, like just shitty gifts that, you know, we're giving like grown ass people. Like I think you mentioned back what was it, Valentine's Day, where giving like a 40-year-old woman like a stuffed, like a $2 stuffed animal from CVS or some shit. You know?
Oh man, that last minute shit, motherfuckers buying
the last minute shit
off the median on the highway and shit like that.
Yeah.
They selling a dozen roses for like $50 right down middle of the highway.
Yeah.
I want to ask Neil. I want to ask you what you were up to, but you're probably gonna say some shit like, you know, I just watched a bunch of NBA Classic games on.
Right.
You're not far off, because
Boston '87 versus like the Pistons. Like,
you're not far off.
So essentially, I thought when you initially think, oh, back in my, you know, brown cultural day, then I thought you were gonna say, oh yeah, you didn't do shit like that, because that's what I've grown up.
Oh no,
on.
yeah, no, there was always a gesture, man. Like we conformed that much.
Okay, my family still has not conformed that much, but it works out for me good right now, because I don't have to do anything extravagant for Mother's Day or Father's Day. So I literally, the closest thing I did to celebrating with my dad was I went to go see his cousin who was in town, but that he didn't even see. So.
Sounds like a blast, man.
What fucking oddball job is that? Fucking assignment? What is this shit?
And I also ate some good ass food there too. She was hosting a nice party, so I'm happy with myself. I ain't even a father, and I'm already reaping the benefits.
All right, man. That Father's Day vegetarian special. That shit slaps.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's so good. Oh.
Special edition.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised Neil hasn't said on the show yet. Like we didn't have to grill. You know, I lucked out. No, we didn't have to.
Yeah, we ain't grilling no veggies.
Cook shit. Oh man. Any parting Father's Day thoughts, Zane? Before I move into the next.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
It's good if you have one. They can help.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. Like if you're not a father, like a biological father, like don't take Father's Day like for yourself. I don't know. I just single moms out there to come out and say, oh, it's get me something for Father's Day. Say happy Father's Day to me too.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Let dads have their day. Yeah. We don't get shit else. Just let us have one day, please.
It's a big piece of chicken.
Exactly.
All right. Well, you guys were overly excited for that bit. Listen, post COVID Father's Day is certainly a big leap for all of us. We've got another participation trophy milestone to share.
Need a sound bit for this. Yes.
COVID milestone.
Thanks. We talked about this last week. We got to insert like some sort of bit for these COVID milestones. That's the best I could find.
Play it again. I talked over it. Yes.
We've reached a milestone.
Jamal returned to work physically.
Yeah, dog.
Is this your actual first time being back in any workplace environment? Since
yeah. I stopped in office to get some mail at my old office in Herndon once, but that doesn't count because I just walked in and showed my ID and picked up something and came home. This is my first true work day, my first real commute.
Yeah.
Spending more than 15 minutes in an office. I bet with my team was there. Like I think half of us were in the office for this particular meeting. So yeah, everything that resembled, as close as possible to a work day. I traveled pretty much during normal commute hours, so I got the true feel of that fucking shitty, DC area traffic coming up and down 95 and 395. So yeah, it was the closest thing. So
now you're traveling from Woodbridge to where?
To Crystal City.
To Crystal City. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm right around the corner from where you used to.
That.
We're still.
Fuck that.
Say it with your chest.
Are they building an overpass on every fucking exit on 95 and 395 as well?
95 and 395 look pretty much the same. I'm back and forth to DC quite a bit, so that part looks the same. But Crystal City itself, they're building out a lot of shit there, just because of the presence of. I guess I can go ahead and name my company. I work for Amazon, so the building out of new residential space and businesses. They're really trying to breathe life because Crystal City. Let's be real. For a fairly decent,
watch your tongue, man. Hey, don't
come on, man. You know the deal, though. I'm
a 3-year Crystal City vet.
You know they ain't shit in Crystal City, though. You know it. It doesn't make sense for it to be as shitty as it is.
It's faux city life.
Yeah,
it's faux city life.
They're trying to get
close
there.
enough. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, I shot over I had to get my stuff out of our old building, which is really just up the block from the new one. Pack it up, and then I went over to the new building for, like I said, our kind of bi-weekly staff meeting. Cool shit. First time I'd gone through a temperature scan with one of those. Have you seen these kind of tall machines that do your whole body scan and shit? Like I'm waiting to go walk up to security and get my forehead scanned, and they were like, "Oh no, you're good." And I looked at their monitor, and I had like a scene out of The Predator and shit. Like my whole body heat was like scanned in. Yeah. There's also a thing now you can, if you are fully vaccinated, you can opt to get a special kind of sticker put on your badge, which means you can walk around maskless. So I didn't have my card that I didn't know about it, but I got that taken care of. So when I go back next time, I'll be able to do that. New building, cool as shit. More people there than I thought it would be. So it was mostly empty still, but I think people are finally like, fuck, I got to get out of the house, or, I want to start meeting with people. I want to start talking to adults. You would imagine I've been in the house with kids and dogs for the most part. So it's good to have like kind of human adult interaction in the office. I plan to go in weekly. I don't think I'll be able to make it this week. Just it's not going to work out with the kids in summer. But I plan to go as much as I can. Just
so
to
how
get
does
back
how does that scheduling work? I mean, do you just choose when you want to go back in, or is there like some?
Yeah, so they're not
mandate?
asking us to come back in. This is really all
Okay.
voluntary. Yeah, there's
Gotcha.
no expectation. They are kind of gently encouraging people to go back. Like, hey,
Right.
everything's safe. We are, it's good to go. Like, here are all the new amenities.
Flair.
Yeah, this is all the brand new building stuff. Like, all that good stuff is
Yeah.
kind of laid out there, but there's no expectation on schedule or anything like that. So again, it's all of my own choice to go back. But I kind of miss, it sounds weird, dude. I'm not an extrovert, but I feel like every now and then I need to get out and just have like some sun hit my face and interact with
vitamin
people.
D.
Yeah, just the kind of that routine I need to jump into every now and then. And this is a good time to go back. Like I said, the parking's free for us until September if you work primarily out of the building. There's plenty of spaces. There's, it's just not a lot of like that jam that you expect with just kind of normal work time. So I enjoyed it, for lack of a better term. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
It's gonna go out.
Yeah, no, I haven't gotten any official word from my job about going back or any plans to really go back, but I totally understand where you're coming from about that. This is actually the first time I've consistently worked from home for like more than a large period of time. And I never thought I'd feel that way as well. Like you miss the interaction, you miss the face-to-face contact and actually being around people. I know a lot of companies, mine included, have started to try to vouch for more work from home time now that we've proven that we can fully be productive doing it. I started when I start with the first day of my job at this place was the first day of the contract, and we've been remote ever since, and things have been falling into place just fine, as if we weren't teleworking. So, but
Neil, are you full-time working from Earth or no?
No, part-time from the moon, part-time from an asteroid nearby. I only come back to Earth when we have to record these podcasts.
Yeah, it depends on what language he's covering sports.
Yeah.
Right.
Hebrew or
Telugu.
Some Gujarati, some Urdu.
Gujarati, yeah.
This, I was reading, I'm sure you guys have seen articles about this will be like a defining time in work culture, period. A lot of people are putting their foot down, so I'm not going back to work. And if you make me go back, I'm going to quit. I'm going to pivot to a new career.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to look back on, 2020 as like this kind of turning point in the industry as a whole.
Right.
And a lot of people, let's be real, a lot of people who want in office time to really kind of justify their position when they don't really do shit. They just need to kind of crack the whip on people. I mean, they've been exposed too. So there's a lot of shifts going on. Like I said, this will be a turning point for us.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Black people and going to work, last Friday was the first time this country decided to commemorate the anniversary of Juneteenth and treat it as a federal holiday. Zane's face was like, where the fuck is he going with this?
Be really funny.
I'll work on this shit all week,
really
man. No. You tie it in, So yeah, Juneteenth is now a federal holiday, which is cool if you're down with the cause.
Yeah.
Which we at the PTP podcast are. It's also cool if you're white. Go ahead, what?
And I've been meaning this, like, it's not for me to say, like, it doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't affect me. I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of, like, groups of people saying, here's something for you.
Yes.
Right?
Oh,
and it's just like, you know what I'm saying? Not because they really give a fuck, but
we got trust me. Yeah, we're getting into all of that. Listen, but that goes without saying, and that's what I mean when I say it's cool for the people that are down with the cause or for the cause. Yeah. It's the people, if you know, right? And the joke I was going to make is that it's also cool if you're white because you started the whole shit and then you get the day off when we celebrate the end of it, right? Like, what the fuck, right? So, but I totally agree with you, Zane, and we're going to dive into a lot of that shit. I know Jamal's got a lot to chime in about that, but just going back to the holiday, Biden signed the bill into action late Thursday, like right before COB. Companies nationwide were scrambling to update their holiday policies and employee handbooks. My company was able to make it right before the buzzer and confirmed it was a paid holiday. So I had Friday off. My wife, for example, didn't make the cut. But besides,
that worked.
It was tough for a lot of companies to try to put that in place in time. But besides the day off, the commemoration of Juneteenth wasn't free of any dumb shit going on with brands and companies and sports teams trying, just making a fool out of themselves trying to play this shit right. And Jamal, you mentioned earlier this week, you noticed a lot of the BLM banter kind of just leading up to the holiday. Your thoughts on how it all played out?
What I think that what jumped out the most to me, I didn't see a lot of marketing fringe, thankfully, and maybe that's because I kind of try to stay clear of it. But what I noticed this year was there was a marked difference between 2020 Juneteenth and 2021, and obviously the big difference is in 2020 we were coming off the death of George Floyd. The movements around the globe, the protests, the marches, all that stuff was kicking up into a fever pitch at that time, and we had obviously somebody occupying the White House that we felt was pushing the antithesis of that leading up to Juneteenth, and he tried to scramble and be inclusive, but obviously it didn't work. I do remember one particular bad marketing fringe from last year from Gushers, our favorite fruit snack. I'm going to read it. This is from June 5th of last year. It says, Gushers wouldn't be Gushers without the Black community and your voices. We're working with Fruit by the Foot on creating space to amplify that. We see you, we stand with you. Now, a couple things. Again, I'm glad I didn't see that this year, but this is what happens when you don't have people of color in your higher up rankings in marketing departments. We see shit like this every year.
Or just even your social media department.
It could be something like this, or some fucking mattress sale for Juneteenth, or you get some special meal for Juneteenth, and it's like, no, like y'all don't have to do that.
It's like a McDonald's commercial with two black people dancing to chicken nuggets and shit.
There was a treasure hunt in a small Michigan community, which is comprised of 80% white people, and it was a treasure hunt that was set up by the local businesses, and that was it. Like there was no relation or any theme that tied it even back into what they were commemorating, so to speak, right? It was just these special gift certificates that were placed around the community for the local businesses. There was no tie-in to Juneteenth as a mark in history, or about the end of slavery or the emancipation of black folks. None of that. That was it. It all becomes just an excuse to promote their own business and to make money.
Sure. And to Zane's point earlier, the gifting of a holiday that is going to be celebrated by everybody didn't go over well with a lot of my friends. A lot of people weren't too warm about the gesture, about the commemoration of Juneteenth as a federal holiday. Because because it becomes something that could be possibly commercialized in the future, and again, it's enjoyed by everybody as a paid holiday, but also because a lot of the things that we are clamoring for don't get fixed by the commemoration of Juneteenth.
And moreover, they use Juneteenth as kind of like a cover up for not addressing those other,
and quite possibly at the worst time when it comes to Black voting rights, and the fact that we are going to be hit through disparate impact by all these terrible fucking voting laws being put into place across all these red states based on a horse shit kind of ideology. It feels really incongruent. It feels not rushed, but it feels fairly empty, right? So I mean that's the way it can. I didn't get there was not a lot of consensus on feeling good about Juneteenth becoming a federal holiday.
There was a picture / meme that somebody put out there. Was somebody stepping over a bunch of stairs. It's like, oh, okay, jumping right over to Juneteenth when we're skipping over voting rights, police reform, like a bunch of things that actually need to happen instead of this kind of forced gesture that what does it really do for anybody who at the end of the day is still Black in America?
Yeah, and today the For the People Act got squashed in Congress. They went nowhere. So the struggle continues, even with Juneteenth in place.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of dumb shit that was shared out there. The San Jose Sharks.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
A white ass team and a white ass sport thought it was okay to celebrate Juneteenth. I mean, we saw the image, right? The San Jose Shark that was breaking the shackles.
It's so bad.
Yeah, it's basically
biting through
yeah,
chain.
Yeah, biting through the chains. It was an iPhone, or I'm sorry, a cell phone wallpaper image. That they provided. Candace Owens, she was deep in her dusty ass handbag on this one, of course. Can you imagine the nasty shit that's in Candace Owens' handbag? Probably like makeup powder all over the bottom, like shit gets all over her credit cards and shit. Half-eaten pack of peanut butter crackers, crumbs everywhere.
Yeah.
Peanut butter crackers.
Charlie Kirk's driver's license for no reason.
Charlie Kirk has the strangest shaped head I've ever seen.
Yeah, Candace Owens. I'll be celebrating July 4th and July 4th only. I'm American. Called it lame.
Of course, yes.
You know,
my boy, Officer Tatum. He went live and said,
my boy.
Yeah, June. Yeah, he's risen to the top as like just the worst of the conservative dickheads. But yeah, he went. You know, he recorded himself. I think he was in the airport, and he was saying Juneteenth doesn't help Black people. It's funny, you know, these the champion Black conservatives always try to beat the drum about what's not helpful to the Black community. I'm like, your entire following is made up of racist white people. But anyway, I digress.
Yep. As we said, you know, the awareness is always important. We don't want it to supersede what's more important. There's obviously a lot of bigger fish to fry, easier ways to vote. There's an anti-lynching bill that needs to be passed in some of these fucking states. Still. Yeah. Reparations, critical, you know, race theory in schools, all this shit. These are important things that we need to make sure are implemented before we get into you know, the hallmark shit. Sure. With that said, we'll leave it at that. A lot of truths to be revealed in open gym. We got catfished by a lot of these players that we thought were something, but ended up being something else. So we'll get into open gym real quick. It's fucking weird. The NBA conference finals are here, meaning the conference semifinals have ended, meaning we've got a few going away trophies to dish out. Let's get right to it, man. First up, Rudy Gobert. This man might have to confiscate all his DPOIs. It's kind of partially not his fault. He got ate up by the zone defense against the Clippers that night, constantly trapped in between the rim and the perimeter. And it was one of those things like Utah's zone defense kept leaving defenders off the 3-point line. And so Terrence fucking Mann ends up owning that shit.
Yeah.
And it was Rudy that became the scapegoat. Just not sure if he wanted to close out or leave the glass open, not respecting the shot. So, but not only that, Gobert did also get yammed on that putback dunk by Mann, and then several point blank transition baskets right in the face of Gobert. So I'm gonna give a participation trophy to Gobert. The Jazz losing 7. An honorary trophy. Was it 6 or 7?
6.
That wasn't 6. 7. Oh yeah, okay. An honorary trophy for Terrence Mann haters. Shout out to every Terrence Mann hater in the world, regardless of why. If you decided to root against Terrence Mann, boo-hoo to you, because my man killed it in game 6. 39 points. He only had 4 points all of last year's playoffs.
Yeah,
I don't know what his stat line is now. He kind of cooled off in game 1. But good for him.
You heard the story about him with he was at the airport and he wasn't going to the combine, and he had like 1% battery left on his phone. He's about to board a flight to leave the area, and then he got like a unknown number call, like a call from a number he didn't recognize, and he was like, "I'm not picking this shit up." It was like a random number, and he picked it up, and they're like, "Where are you? We need you here at the combine." And then he just drove like an hour and a half back home.
Wow.
Got his shit, and then took a flight straight there, and then he ended up getting
No, he took an hour and a half drive back to the hotel where the combine was
drive
at.
back. Yeah.
Is he a Kentucky kid?
No, that's Maxie.
UCLA. Okay.
You're thinking about
He's
Maxie.
the dude. He's the dude that little video that went viral of him having his head down. His teammate comes and lifts his jaw up.
Oh,
remember
shit.
that one?
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know it was him.
Yeah,
he's the guard in that video.
Yeah.
Because the center in that
Maxie?
video. No.
Is that
It might be Man because Maxie went to Kentucky. But
Okay,
that guy
so
who
this
just
was
got
Man.
that guy whose chin he lifted up, that's the guy who just got traded to Boston in the Kemba trade.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The big man.
Gotcha. So Maxie and did Quigley go to Kentucky?
Quickly went to Kentucky.
All right. My point is, Cal knows how to coach up
Mm-hmm.
ballers, man.
Oh yeah.
Grab a Kentucky clap if you can, because
You ever rabbit hole through like old college rosters and see like names that you know now, like from previous college rosters, and be like, oh shit, they played together.
Also,
They
Terrence
played
Mann went to Florida State,
Florida State.
not UCLA.
Okay.
I got all these dreadlocks talked up. Shit.
Correct.
God damn.
Disregard.
Yeah, disregard all that shit. That wasn't the video. Okay. So Terrence Mann and Rudy Gobert. Next up, Ben Simmons, Jesus, Jamal.
Buddy. I don't know, man. Like, unless you were living under a rock, you know about everything that Ben Simmons has been catching since his mysterious. It started with that bizarre play where he passed on a post up. Because did we all agree that he was afraid that he was going to get fouled and have to go to the free throw line?
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like one of these plays.
You're not talking about him passing up on the dunk
he
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, he posted up. Was it Kevin Huerter, right? He had somebody on the block, and he does a
Spun
spin
out of it.
Yes.
and made a really
dunk.
fucking weird, pass off to I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name, but
to Maxiel. No, I'm sorry.
Maxiel.
Matisse.
Jesus Christ. Then I saw Embiid's reaction to that, and I think he embodied pretty much how everybody felt. Here's the problem, man. Like, these Ben trade rumors are going to continue probably for the next, at least to the end of the week. And if there's one thing Daryl Morey can do, GM of the Sixers, he can draw up a trade. He can finesse his way into anything in any particular time. And Morey's just very savvy at that. Now, they said they committed to Ben and they want to move forward and all that stuff. And we got a good foundation. I think he said.
Have they said that recently after the game?
Morey said that today. He said we have a good foundation. He said there are 25 or so teams that would love to be in our position.
Oh.
But
he's just trying to salvage some trade value after Doc Rivers and Joel Embiid just shit on him.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Here's my thing. There's one thing to take shots, and I'd rather you take shots and stink it up. Go 3 for fucking 16 than just not shoot.
Right.
It's a very peculiar thing to see his confidence just kind of unraveled by game. The fact that he put up 19 points in games 5 through 7 of the semis, and you look at the fourth quarter stats combined. Fourth quarter stats. I think he took a total of like 3 or 4 field goals.
I think he was like 3 for 3 in the 7 fourth quarter games.
So
he missed more free throws than the Nets missed combined.
Was it 34% from the free throw line and 70 attempts and loads of play.
It's mental.
There's so much. It's mental, but also if you can argue that Ben his game's regressing over time. He doesn't try to work anything offensively into his game other than just, attack the basket. And if anything, that to me would lower his trade value because he's not expanding his game whatsoever. This is not 1983. You can't be fucking Mark Jackson running a point anymore. You got to be able to shoot. You got to be able to. You got to be willing to take an open three. You got to be. You got to do something decent in the mid range. You got to do all that shit. And he has no willingness to do it. And then, I know Stephen A. Smith got the fucking quote unquote text message and he was shitting on Ben's work ethic and all that. I don't know if that's piling on at this point, but he does have holes in his game. And I was sitting back thinking, well, maybe he can, convert to a wing. He'd be a great fucking wing defender because he still has the size to, be, but that doesn't help his offensive gaping hole in his game. And
his contract justify how much he's going to pay.
Contract too is just bloated. Yeah. Yes, I don't know.
The thing is, go ahead.
He's an extreme version of Andre Roberson almost.
Yeah.
So polarizing different between his offensive value and his defensive value.
Yeah.
I agree. But
Very
Andrew
good
Roberson can at least hit a free throw, or can he?
At least better than 33%.
Yeah, because I think about Ben and the way you can utilize him on offense, and I agree with you. As a wing player, he'd be a lot more productive. Even offensively, you just get him to. You want him to make, run some screenplays, be the roller to the basket, but they'll just hack him.
Yeah,
and he'll, that's it. That's the end of that. A lot of, Kobe had a quote about him a few years ago.
Yeah.
His first answer to the question was when he was asked about his thoughts on Ben Simmons, get a fucking jump shot.
You gotta get a jump shot.
Get a jump shot, because to be that skilled on one side of the ball and to not be able to, kind of do anything with it on the other side of the ball, you're gonna look back at your career one day and be like, I could have done so much more had I had just a mid-range, an elbow jumper.
And his defense isn't. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's not as good as people say it is. But the rules don't allow anybody to really be a lockdown defender either. So it's like,
that's true. Yeah.
In this NBA, you can be a really good defender and give up 25, 30 points.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like its value. I don't think it's even what it's perceived in that sense. And he's not. He's
okay,
not
Justin
like,
Kutcher.
He's not like
LeBron
it's
still fuck
or
that
Giannis.
guy, by the way.
Yeah.
Correct, of course.
He's not like LeBron or Giannis, who don't have like, LeBron's jumpers improved drastically. I mean, I think he's actually developed into a really solid like mid-range shooter. Giannis did a pretty decent job this series, but it's not like he can get to the rim like them either. It's not like he can just do one spin move and just finish it in the paint and dunk over someone. And the team, I never believed in this team, but I don't know if him and Embiid, like, I don't see the fit either. There's no fit. They're just two very talented players who play two different positions. I don't see how they mesh well together.
Yeah, definitely. They actually asked Trump the other day if Ben Simmons belongs in the NBA. He said,
and maybe that's a question you should ask China. Don't ask me, ask China that question, okay?
The newest Shanghai Shark, Ben Simmons.
I've loved the fucking Sharks, and who's the other thing? The Tigers. What's the
Tiger? Yeah.
No, what about the Guangdong Long Lions?
There we go. Yeah. I was like
those fucking photoshops have been fantastic this week.
Good.
Shout out to Davis Bertans making it onto one of the photoshops.
Yeah. Davis Bertans. Yeah, that's recognition right there.
Hey, look.
To be known as a bust? Yeah. How you know he's a bust?
Hey, look, they saw that Philly series.
Hey, man. Hey, I'm triggered at CJ McCollum though, man. That's my guy, man. I love CJ, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, he stunk it up too. So, all right. Good shit on Ben Simmons. I want to stick to him for one more second because ever since that whole trade shit came up, him being on the market immediately after Game 7, Wizards fans pounced on it, throwing out scenarios. We brought it up in the chat earlier. It's hard to
justify going from 2 years of Russ left to 4 years of that contract.
Contractually, it makes no fucking sense.
Exactly, and that's the bottom line.
Like, but isn't the point also to add to Russ and Brad, like not take one of the pieces away to Brad? Like, I thought we were
just
trying
money-wise, there's no way that
–
you can never even play Russ and Ben Simmons on the floor together.
Oh, no.
I still want to see it. I want to see it. So I can bet the under.
Oh, my God.
The under on the 3-point percentage.
So you know what? No, we're going to cut it right there. We're never going to talk about that. I might scrap
it's not happening, people.
Moving on. Next participation trophy goes to our back-to-back winner, Kevin Durant. I threw this motherfucker in there last week after he lost Harden and Irving, forced to play the leader role, be the one-man army. He continued to be the one-man army, just one unclipped toenail short of the Eastern Conference Finals, Zane.
Half shoe size.
No trust in his teammates, not even Harden. Harden put up some points, but those who saw the game knew he wasn't really a factor. Go ahead.
What angle are we taking here? Like, what angle do you want me to go with here?
KD's got the trophy in his hand, man.
Okay. I mean, there's like a lot. There was so much to unpack from that game.
So much, I know. Take your time. We're here.
Thoughts.
We're only at 40 minutes, man. Go ahead. Yeah.
You know, it all. So the game before that, he balled out, right?
Yeah.
I think it was the game before that, right?
49.
And then, yeah, I noticed the way Steve Nash was hugging him, and it was like I couldn't tell if it was like I got no idea what the fuck I'm doing, but it's like like if you are doing a class project and one dude just fucking kills it in the presentation and you didn't put any fucking work and your whole thing was shit, and then the teacher's like, well, very good, you get an A, you know, and then you all fucking hug and embrace, like, and then I see this game and it sucks because he's got his detractors that are like, oh, LeBron did this and this and that, you couldn't do this without without your 2 stars, or, you know, couldn't lead them to victory. I'm not really in that boat. You know, I thought before the series, I picked the Nets to win, but I thought the Bucks were the worst matchup possible for them, and it kind of played out how I thought it would. With you have Tucker, Holiday, and you got Giannis, and you're able to kind of, you know, throw all those defenders at KD. I thought he played really well, but also I noticed just like he is so. His size, like if you're able to play physically on him, he really struggles to kind of to either get to his spots or like every shot, even though he makes them, just seems so difficult, right? It just seems like it's really hard for him to get there. And then when he does get past his defender, he's just not one of these guys who can finish kind of in the paint and, you know, acrobatically or kind of you know, finish strongly. And I just noticed that over and over, and it was so painful to watch. And part of me was just like. The offense with Steve Nash was just disgusting. James Harden, I understand he's hurt, but he's missing like all these like wide open threes. Like you can't make one fucking three. Like
playing on one leg, but yeah.
No, I get it, but like you got all these open shots, and like my issue with Harden, I know we're not trying to talk about Harden, but Harden is so like he's the most unstoppable player, but he's like programmed to do like 2-3 things. Right. And anything outside of those 2-3 things, if you throw him into like this different part of the court that he's not used to, like, he just fucking discombobulates, right? Like you'll see him like wide open in the mid range, and he's like, oh shit, like I gotta get to, I gotta take a fucking, you know, parabola to get to my fucking floater, like to get to my fucking floater, right? And I gotta force this shit in there, right? So it was just kind of painful to watch, and I mean. And then the last play, like he makes that miraculous shot, and, you know, and then. It comes back in overtime.
So the shot, it's the same shot in overtime. It's the exact same spot.
I would say a little bit harder in overtime.
Yeah, it was a little bit harder, but it was the same
area though.
You know,
tight, right?
Same
area, but he was gassed.
He was gassed.
Right. No legs.
Done.
I think I saw a stat where it said the last 3 games of that series, he only was on the bench for 8 minutes.
That's crazy.
He played the whole game before that. He pretty much sat for like a minute that game, right? Or some shit like that.
He played like
was gassed.
There were like 8 starters between both teams that played like 50+ minutes in that wild ass game.
Exactly. So I'm watching this game. You got like a 7-man rotation, like talking about. Blake Griffin can't fucking guard anybody in that series. He can't guard Giannis. He can't guard anybody else. And he comes out. Jeff Green comes in. It's like, okay, he's a solid player, but it just wasn't fucking working.
And you know your roster's fucked up when everyone's badgering them about why they didn't play Jeff Green more minutes. Like, I love Jeff Green. I think Jeff Green is a piece. Like he's a veteran piece that's important. But you know, for people to sit there and be like, you know, Jeff Green's lack of minutes was the difference maker. That's when you know your roster's a little fucked up.
Yeah, Jeff Green's 52 years old.
He's 52 years old, right?
Dude's had like heart problems and all sorts of shit, man.
Yeah,
heart surgery,
bro.
He had open heart, right? I mean,
yeah.
It was crazy.
But then like. I'm also like, not criticizing the coach if he didn't do that. Like a lot of team games I see and like I'm with people and they're like, well, why did you call a timeout? Well, you know, I try to explain like, okay, well, if you call a timeout, it gives the defense a chance to set up, right? You want to catch them off guard, but like if you're watching that game, you know, KD is running off fucking fumes, man.
Right.
Like you saw him, he didn't
give
even
him
attempt. Yeah, give him a break. Like he didn't even like that last possession. It was so disgusting, and I could see it. I was like, "There's no fucking."
They should have called a timeout with 8 seconds on the clock, drew some shit up, and that gives you your best chance. Like
exactly.
This is moronic.
It also goes to show though how important that is. Like I think KD, as tired as he was, he could have drove to the lane. He could have drawn a foul. He had one guy on him. They didn't double team him. Right? There wasn't, from what I remember, a help defender within like a few feet. He could have easily driven to his right. pump faked, but he was so gassed he wasn't even there, and his coach should have fucking saved him, right? His coach should have called a timeout. His coach should have drawn something up. It just goes to show you the importance in coaching in these moments, right? Just because you're KD, you're the best player in the world, or whoever you might be, you need somebody to kind of save you from yourself, right? And that possession was just that cost them. They could have won the fucking game. They could have been in the conference finals right now.
Yeah,
they could have been NBA champions.
I want to stick on this coaching thing because, you know, you think back at the Last Dance, right, and kind of the things that you saw, the transformation of Michael Jordan from one coach to the other, right? Doug Collins was a guy that he was like the Scott Brooks of this era, right? He just let his superstar do whatever the fuck it was all about Michael. Get it to Mike. Mike was, they were going to live by Mike and die by Mike. And they did that so many times, right? Against Cleveland, against Boston, so many times. And Phil Jackson comes in and implements a scheme, a strategy, a game plan, the triangle offense, right? An offense, right? And he did it in a way where the greatest player that ever walked the earth at that time, and probably still till now, had to buy into it, and he did because he realized this shit's gonna fucking change the game for myself and for the team. We're gonna start winning, and you can have as many talented players as you want. The Miami Heat, you know, we praise Eric Spoelstra so much for his accomplishments in Miami. And when we do, we disregard the fact that he had 3 perennial Hall of Famers on that roster. And we credit him for being able to get those guys to play together and to win together. So I totally agree with that. With what Brooklyn is lacking here with Steve Nash is not having a guy that can kind of just, you know.
And some of it's just as a parting thing. It's like some of it is the roster. My biggest concern with this team is they're fucking soft. They don't get any easy buckets. No. They don't get any layups. It's all just like, here KD, here Harden. Okay, we're do the floater. They're gonna move the ball around, shoot a 3, or KD's gonna pull up in the mid range and make some crazy miraculous shot. But otherwise, they don't get anything. They got nothing easy. It was honestly painful to watch them play offense.
I mean, who the fuck is gonna make it easy on that roster, or make it look easy? Bruce Brown, Landry Shamet.
Yeah, they were playing Bruce Brown heavy minutes, and ever since he had that one game
Mike
where
James?
he's in floaters, he hasn't done anything. Well, Mike James is solid, but I mean, I agree. It's not.
Mike James was playing overseas before the season started.
Motherfucker, man. Yeah.
But this is how these top heavy, superstar teams look.
Yeah.
The bench looks like fucking complete shit. Yeah.
But at least with LeBron and they were getting inside the paint. They had layups, they had dunks, they had fast breaks. I don't remember any fast breaks from the Nets, where they got just something easy, just something simple, something easy.
Yeah, I mean, those Heat teams,
you can't win those shooting jumpers.
Yeah. Those Heat teams made Shane Battier a fucking star, man.
Yeah, well, that team was infinitely stacked to me.
Yep.
We're gonna get to one more PTP award, but real quick, let's get some quick hits on the conference finals predictions. Phoenix and the Clippers, and we got Atlanta versus the Bucks. Again, this is one of those textbook simulated 2K seasons. Phoenix and Atlanta end up in the Bucks, and they very well could. I want to go LA, Milwaukee. I think that's probably, on paper where it looks like it's going to go, but I can't discount Phoenix and Devin Booker and all the pieces they got. I can't discount Trae Young and all these other guys on their squad that are stepping up. Your John Collinses, your Kevin Huerters, right?
They got fucking flamethrowers on you.
Yeah, so I think I can't put my finger on one team. I feel like it's going to be one combination of a team that we expected to make it versus one of these Cinderella teams, so to speak. Phoenix and Atlanta. So
I just gotta say, go ahead.
I'm gonna go. Fuck, I didn't even think about this. I didn't think this all the way through. I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna say Phoenix versus Milwaukee.
I just want to say, I don't know what piece of paper you're looking at that says the Clippers have a better chance than beating the Phoenix Suns. Because I just feel like they're the sexier team to make it. Like the Clippers. Sure, but with the fact that Kawhi Leonard is potentially out for the entire series, it's almost.
Yeah.
There's
Let's
almost
score that game now.
Phoenix is up 86-79 with 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Shit.
They're about to potentially take a 2-0 series lead.
Yeah.
Chris Paul is going to come back.
I said Phoenix, Milwaukee.
Yeah. Just initially, you said, "Oh, on paper, Clippers, might look like they know Clippers ain't gonna do nothing without Kawhi."
They've been a more consistent contender the past. That's where I was getting at with that. But go ahead.
It's all about health in the NBA, though, and right now Kawhi doesn't have it, and so the Suns are gonna probably roll to another, first finals, and who knows how long first finals for Chris Paul. I'll go ahead and say, I think Suns and Bucks are going to be the finals, as much as I would love for Kevin Huerter to be finals MVP.
I'm going to go Suns and Bucks. I just think the Suns role players have a crazy amount of energy right now. They're just playing with that crazy pep in their step. I don't see that coming from the Clippers role players. I know the Clippers role players will play better at home, but I can see the Suns stealing one of those games. But I do agree with Abdullah in the sense that, like, the Clippers are the sexier team. They had the experience last year, and that's why I don't believe the Hawks are going to. I just don't see that jump happening this fast, right? Like, okay, you don't make the playoffs, and then you're in the finals, right? So,
shout out Nate.
I'm going with the Bucks.
Shout out Nate McMillan, though. That man's going to get paid this summer.
I just don't think it's their year, and I just see, like, I saw Philly play that full court press on Atlanta and almost steal a game. I saw them, steal some games win some games that way. And with the Bucks defense, the way, after I understand Trae Young's a whole different beast, but after playing against KD and James Harden, I think
the Bucks just have so many players that they can throw at Trae Young. You got Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, PJ Tucker, Giannis. Like, they're going to make Trae Young's life difficult, and Kevin Huerter is going to have to throw up 30 every night.
Defenders I've seen in a while. Those three guys, honestly.
Yeah, good point. I'm going to go Phoenix and Milwaukee also. As much as I love Atlanta, I've been riding with them. Like I said, they've got so many offensive weapons. I just love the way they play. And they did well against Philly's defense. Philly's a bigger team than New York, obviously much more. They're better team than New York. But to your point, Milwaukee's defense, I think Giannis is gonna kick it up into another gear because he's sniffing, like a championship now. So I think Atlanta's luck finally runs out, but I've really enjoyed watching them play. So and I don't think the Clippers have it this year, especially without Kawhi. But shout out to 3 of the 4 coaches that are remaining being black coaches.
Yep.
Sir.
Yeah, it's big.
Ty
Take
Lue,
note, GMs.
Nate McMillan.
Take note, GMs.
I'm just kidding.
And of course, Monty Williams, hell of a fucking coach, man.
It's my guy, man. Local guy. Local PG County.
Potomac. PG? I've never been in Moco.
Yeah, and I know that guy coaches with a heavy heart every fucking night, man.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible
The story about
tragedy.
his wife, man.
Yeah.
Just, that stuck with me, man. So shout out to Monty, man. Rooting for him.
You're right, Jamal. Oxon Hill, Maryland, but he went to Potomac High School. That's what was stuck in my head.
Well, there's a Potomac and PG also.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You think of Potomac. Right.
Yeah.
Shout out, it's random. I saw Monty Williams at Jiffy Lube one day.
Oh.
Love me some Monty Williams.
In Oxon Hill?
Nah, this is in Largo, actually. But he had the big body SUV. Okay, that was when the Pontiac Sunfire, just like, some humble shit.
All right. Well, we got one more trophy to give out. We saved the best for last year because this happened like literally minutes after our last show.
Yes.
Like literally minutes after our last show. Scott Brooks, thanks for coming. Thanks for whatever contribution. I feel like it was a colossal waste of time. I honestly do. For what he was touted as coming into the franchise as the coach to what it all became. I get it, a few playoff runs, but Scott Brooks, the Wizards finally part ways. Neil, it happened. It was kind of a shocker. There was a lot of I don't know. It was a bit of a murmur about him coming back. I guess there was a lack of trust in the franchise doing the right thing,
and also a lack of trust in the reporting that a certain person did. But like we talked about last week, essentially every day that kept on going, sure, yes, there was an increasing chance that Brooks, would return. But essentially we had recorded last Tuesday night, the episode dropped Wednesday. Wednesday morning, Woj hits the Twitterverse and says, Wizards and Scott Brooks, of course, they're going to put it nicely and say, both mutually decided not to, continue. Woj kind of framed it as, oh, yeah, maybe there were some discussions and they just couldn't come to an agreement. I think it's a nice way for the Wizards organization to be like, oh yeah, we tried a little bit, Russ. Like we tried to bring your guy back.
Didn't Tommy today on the Kevin Sheehan show you guys shared this morning,
2 days ago said that was not the case.
Yeah, that was not the case. They never
offer him shit.
Yeah, like I haven't heard what he put out there, but Tommy is a former PR guy. That's how he got his start in the league. He knows how to spin shit the way that he wants it to be spun. So whether the Wizards offered Scott Brooks a 2-year, $8 million contract to return or whatever it was, Scott's not going to do that.
Yeah.
He's probably chilling. He can retire off of his $35 million of Ted Leonsis' money that he took. So he'll be chilling.
Spicy Neil is back.
Hey, Scotty, you ever want to have me over in your vineyard in California? Let me know. We'll drink past our beef and maybe give me a little bit of that bread.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So we talk about candidates and who we want as his replacement. Did Becky Hammond get hired yet?
She's getting her second interview with Portland. If the Wizards are going to move fast, which they aren't going to do because Tommy's already said that, they're essentially going to be short of Becky Hammond in the pool when Portland or some other team inevitably makes the decision to pick her up.
It's the Washington way, baby. We're going to take our time.
Know.
We're going to evaluate all the options and let everybody else get snatched up.
This shit that Tom Lavero was talking yesterday about, he thinks Ted's going to be doing like this big executive search. I was like, all I can hear is time ticking away and us ending up with somebody. Now, Lavero did suspect, let's go ahead and address it. He threw the rumor of Jay Wright from Villanova as being somebody he thinks that might be in Tommy's kind of line of sight.
Yeah, I saw that as well. Yeah.
I don't know how realistic that is. They've been trying to get Jay Wright into the NBA for years now. He keeps, he's got a good fucking setup. He threw so he's throwing out college coaches and then obviously some unknown international candidates like a David Blatt type that might pop in because Tommy's big on the international scouting and the scene. So I have no pulse on anything. I'd love Jay Wright, but then again, the college game is just so much different from the NBA. What I found interesting was that
can't have another John Beeline situation.
God, no. Which I thought was the worst hire ever. I'd never understood that.
Just so out of left field.
So fucking terrible. Cleveland really fucked that up. But Lavero saying and Sheehan agreeing that presence of Russell Westbrook in general might scare coaches off.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah, I read some really disheartening shit this past week. Somebody shared it about Russell Westbrook just being just a defector, like when it comes to some of these coaches, just like not.
He's unapproachable. He's unapproachable.
He's unapproachable. I let me see if I can bring it up because I responded.
But that's based on what, Zane? I don't know if you can really say it's unapproachable.
I'm just going off of somebody who has not saying he's purposely like that. He just doesn't seem like a person. The appearance is that you can go to and really talk to like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like his demeanor,
sure,
his body language,
maybe an unwillingness to conform to.
Yeah, he's always like a chip on his shoulder type guy. Yeah. And for some coaches and personalities and players, maybe they don't feel like you can go and criticize him. So that's just like a human thing.
That's a scary thing. If that's the sentiment out there now, we're going to end up with another coach that's going to get stampeded all over.
Especially for a franchise that doesn't. Well, this franchise holds on to shitty coaches for a while, so maybe it's a little different. But a rotating door, you don't want to be that guy that comes in and pisses off the one of the marquee guys. You don't want to be that dude.
And that's just scratching the surface with all that's wrong with the team right now, right? So we know Russ has a pretty low ceiling these days in terms of like coach trashing, right?
Sure.
But then you've got the short-term cap space, right? You got no fucking cap space for the next 2 years, right? So whatever coach comes in here has to endure that shit and basically, just hang it, right? Make something out of nothing, or just
work magic with Denny and Rui and whoever the fuck we bring in.
And there's such an unknown about what life will be like in a year from now.
Right. So much. Even with Bradley Beal, I don't buy his loyalty 100%.
Well, it's going to be make or break time at this time next year, because essentially the Wizards are going to say we're going to run it back.
But even a year and a half ago when he professed his loyalty, I was like, for what? Because I knew a year and a half from then, which is now, the team wasn't going to be shit and wasn't going to be leading into any shit either. That's why I questioned it then. I was like, why? What makes you think that the team at that point, a year and a half ago, was going to be any much different than it was then now?
I think that's more reading into things a little too much. I know outsiders like to say that.
I'm not reading into anything. It's an honest curiosity about.
I'm just saying it was overstated. It was overstated his loyalty then. His 1+1 extension was more so to him saying, okay, no matter if they vote me all NBA or not, next time I hit the market, I'm going to get 35% of the cap.
Yeah.
That's a big part of what his extension was. People might have overstated that, oh, wow, he's committed to this team. No, at the end of the day, his commitment is going to make a decision this time next year when his contract is no longer under team control. And that's going to say everything. Loyalty changes. He could be loyal right now. It doesn't mean shit from the end of next season.
This is a revolving thing. It's just a constant.
So, but I read that, and our discussion now, it just that kind of changes a lot about our perspective of who the next coach might be and who's what talent level of a coach they can actually acquire. We talk about your Wes Unseld and
Sam Cassell,
and those guys, these defensive-minded coaches. I just want, from a front office perspective, regardless of what the state of the team is, and we know what it is, but from a front office perspective, I just want their search to be an intelligent one that comes from a place where they know what the team needs are. We saw how they hired Scott Brooks. Everyone was pissed off about that, even though Scott Brooks at the time was a sexy candidate and hire, and we were fine with it. But we still questioned their approach. They interviewed nobody else. So
and so I'll say their approach is going to be very different between 5 years ago.
I just want
when Ernie Grunfeld and Scott and Tommy they went to Scott Brooks' house and just, all right, sign on the dotted line. How much money do we need to pay you? Versus now, Tommy's saying he's going to look at dozens and dozens of different candidates and lay them all out.
His job is on the line with this hire.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
of course.
Absolutely. That's a good point.
He stated on the Kevin Sheehan, he obviously takes counsel from people, but at the end of the day,
he makes
this is going to be his recommendation, right?
Yeah. And it's very clear from what Tommy has told us that he's running the show. Like, he obviously told Ted Leon, says, hey, this is the decision I've come to. We're not going to continue on with Scott Brooks. And Ted was like, if that's what you think you need to do, then go do it. Tommy has essentially full autonomy over the team right now.
All right.
Trying to be optimistic, man.
We'll see how it goes. The draft lottery was tonight, and usually a Wizard segment would segue perfectly into the draft lottery conversation, right?
Absolutely.
But we are in unprecedented times now. The draft lottery was tonight right before the Clippers and Suns game. Detroit got the first pick overall. Houston, Cleveland, Toronto, Orlando rounded out the top 5. Oklahoma City, of course, is up there. They've got 18 draft picks over the next 5 years.
True 2K shit.
Yeah,
true 2K and my GM shit. Yeah.
More picks than roster spots.
Yeah.
So, Jamal, I know you've been following a lot of mock drafts. You've been following a lot of these potential top prospects. Now that we know who's picking 1st through 14th, has any of those prospects where they may land outside of number 1, obviously, have any of those changed for you? What are you looking at? What's it looking like?
No, I don't think so. In fact, I think Cade is still a number 1 lock. Right. Cade Cunningham, just because he's going to be a, possibly once in a generation type of talent. And then after that, I think I still see Evan Mobley slated in at number 2. Just a tremendously talented big. From there, I see 3, 4, and 5. I see Jalen Suggs, point guard from Gonzaga. I see Jalen Green going to Toronto. I think he's be good to pair up on the wing with I'm trying to blank on the guy's name.
Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby.
Siakam. He'll be good in the wing with them. Jalen Green's extremely athletic. I mean, he's got the athleticism of almost like a Gerald Green type. He's a little more raw, so his shooting is going to come along, but he's going to be exciting in Toronto. Toronto's not far off. They just had an off year. They played in fucking Florida all year. It's just a lot of things didn't shake out the right way, but they're not far off. And at number 5, I still see Jonathan Kuminga. going to the Magic, another good big wing player that's going to be good on both sides. Offensive game is probably going to come along a little later than his defensive, but smart dude. This is going to show also, we're going to see this wave of guys going straight from high school to G League and other types of these kind of almost semi-pro leagues. And once you see Kuminga and Jalen Green go top 5, it's going to kind of be proof positive this kind of system is going to work out in the future. So now I don't see too much movement in the top 5. I'll obviously be checking a lot of mocks beginning tomorrow morning to see where guys fall in. But Cade's a lot. Cade has already said I'm working out for whoever's getting the #1 pick and not anybody else. So he'll be going to Detroit. So yeah, that's the way I see it shaking out. After pick 4 or 5, the talent level really drops off pretty, not significantly, but some of these other guys are really kind of size issues or, a lot more raw in terms of prospects. I think the last time I saw the Wizards mocked, it was the guy Cody Kispert, I think his name is, from Gonzaga. Yeah, it's a shooter. So we'll see.
Tommy Shepard, good friends with Mark Few. Rui Hachimura pick.
Seems like a very Wizards type of pick. Wizards type of pick.
So the Wizards land where now?
15.
15.
Yeah.
Was it worth it? Huh?
Of course not.
Was the playoff series worth it?
If it's the 15th pick, that's another Troy Brown, another Kelly Oubre, another project we gave up on in 2 years.
Raul Neto Jr.
All I'm saying is, man, find a dog. I'm tired of nice guys on this roster. They look great for marketing. They look, all that shit. Get a motherfucker.
Like a Marcus Smart. Give me a Jay Crowder. Get
a guy who had a child at 15. Give me a guy who got banned by the NCAA and had to go play somewhere else. Give me somebody that's hungry.
Somebody who punched a fan in the stands.
Somebody who punched a fan. Yeah. Somebody who got a soda thrown at him. All that shit, man. Give me a guy with some edge. Give me a guy whose mom.
That's Marcus Smart right there.
Yeah, get somebody who's whole family living in a 1-bedroom apartment and his windows got shot out. Like, if mom is like, I got to get the fuck out of here. Like, maybe there's that guy in the draft, but we
gonna fuck around and get Kwame Brown again, man.
We need some intensity on this roster. That's what I'm saying. Outside of Russ, man, we need guys with some edge.
Yeah, it was interesting tonight. The team reps were all remote. I don't know why. I figured they might have been on the same day as usual. I guess we're not that far ahead of COVID, but
yeah, true.
It's also just for logistics reasons. It's for a 30-minute show, everybody can just hop on a Zoom real quick.
Yeah. Wasn't Machine Gun Kelly a team rep for a team a few years ago? Or did he just show up to the lottery?
Machine Gun Kelly, really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, he was at the lot.
Oh,
I don't want to say, I don't know. Cleveland's had some interesting reps. I don't know if he was a Cleveland rep, but
I'm so happy Cleveland didn't get the #1 pick.
Yeah.
Oh God, that would have killed me.
Yeah.
Ben Wallace, man, looked like a fucking African American studies professor.
That shit depressed me, man. I was like, fuck. Ben Wallace, man. I was thinking of some funny team reps that could have showed up for some of these teams. Like the Pistons could have had like the white dude that started the Malice at the Palace.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Rip Hamilton's game worn face mask just on the table. It's so sweaty and shit.
Oh my God.
Fogged up.
Yeah.
All right, man. Neil, you went to Oriole Park this weekend.
Yeah. Caught a.
Go ahead.
Abdul was like, "What is this baseball nonsense on the agenda?" But went to I would say one of the better looking ballparks, in the MLB. Camden Yards, not my first game, but been a few games so far this season. It's back to 100% capacity, although yesterday with the rain delay was fairly empty crowd. They got piped by the Houston Astros, but I enjoyed making fun of how they needed to hear the trash can banging in the dugout to know what pitch was coming. The cheaters that they are.
Are fans still being like shitty to the Astros? Like, is that like still on?
As they should be. The Astros fucking.
I get.
Cheated.
Yeah. I know that. I know.
Yeah.
But they still.
I was.
Still. Yeah.
Is Dusty still the manager of the Astros?
Dusty Baker. Yep.
Oh, cool. That's my man.
Yeah. Abdullah, you might remember Rich Dubroff, the AP writer that shows up to some of the Wizards games. Saw him in the press box.
You do with the Cosby sweater?
Yeah. That's all we can say on that.
He hates bloggers. You know? when we used to come into the meeting room and sit in the front row, this motherfucker was fuming. Like you just see his face turn, just like this fucking dusty ass Cosby sweater, man. We had like a selection of 3, all of them beige.
He ain't lying.
No,
but so eventually,
nose hairs connecting with his fucking ingrown mustache and shit.
People might be eating while we're listening to this.
AP writers always look the most. AP writers are always the most old ass, worn out motherfuckers in those video rooms, man. Like.
Motherfuckers on a fucking typewriter.
Motherfuckers age with that shit. Yeah, exactly, man. These motherfuckers
fucking stationary.
Have the fucking notepad like in the hat and shit.
Like, got a fucking feather in their cap.
Just light up a cigarette inside the meeting room.
Yeah. Fucking Bob Ryan looking.
Oh man.
Yeah. But so best part of the game, we left. They were getting no hit for a while. We left 7th inning before another round of thunderstorms were coming through. But so we essentially circled, sat in different places in the ballpark. Ended up by the bullpens where the Orioles have them in the outfield. And all of these kids, bunch of 11-year-olds, middle schoolers, getting all of these baseballs from the bullpen. I was like, damn, I wish I was 11. All these bullpen pitcher, he saw one look at me like, man, I ain't giving this.
You could have passed for one. You just went down.
I was trying to say, I was like, hey, I'm 12. Can I get a one? Nothing. A 12-year-old gave me a baseball, and then I was like, wow, this feels weird. And then I gave it to a little girl. So interesting time. There was ushers. This one usher, probably 70-year-old white dude, hassling the freaking kids about being like, I don't know what he was saying, but I was like, bro, there's nobody at this fucking game. Can you chill out? Like, let kids be kids.
Too seriously. Yeah.
Really. So it was a great time. I'm going again tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be a better weather day.
Nice. The same series?
Yeah, same series, just a different group of friends. COVID milestones. We're back at sporting events.
Yeah, dog. I haven't been to a baseball game yet. I'm working on that though.
Nats Park.
I can't wait, man.
It's close by. Get on that metro.
Yeah, right off that Crystal City Metro, man.
Crystal City.
We used to go to Nats games all the time living in Crystal City, man. Yeah.
You miss Crystal City. I mean, let's be real.
I do. It was like a honeymoon phase in your marriage, right? Just us two. And like I said, Crystal City is that faux city life. Like you hear that random drunk dude like falling out of Bar Louie on a Wednesday night. It's just him though, like
random homeless man. And little sprinkles of the city.
It's just a reminder, you're that close. You're that close,
Yeah. It's a good spot, man. You're right across the 14th Street Bridge. Like, that's just cool.
It's so
it's right there. It's right there.
That's pretty much what it was. So, all right, man. We're going to wrap it there. Head in the theater. We got an old school flick we want y'all to catch up on and some R&B drama to delve into. Let's get to it. All right. Zane's got another classic on deck, Amadeus, a 1984 biographical drama about Mozart. You might cry during this segment, I think, Zane. I don't know why. Considering it's considered one of the greatest films of all time. It's on my movie list. I promise it is. I want to show
some research.
No. I wanted to show. No, it's not just that. It's not. I did a little research, but you'd be very proud that I've got a list here. Of like movies that I should watch.
Yeah, it's a long list.
It's a long list. I got it timestamped with the year.
How many have you watched?
We'll talk about that next week. Amadeus. Like I said, this hits home for you on several levels because you're obviously a huge movie guy, but you're also an enthusiast of classical music. If y'all didn't know this about my boy Zane Zadie. So take it away, man.
Yeah, so I had forayed into probably classical music at the same time. At the same time, I was delving into like movie lists of films that I hadn't seen for a while. This is all very simultaneous, but I had never really gotten into Mozart. I never understood the allure of Mozart. Just listening to his work. It wasn't until I had heard Mozart's Requiem, that I was like, holy shit, right? That's where I really took an interest in his work. And then kind of just reading the backstory about Requiem, and how that came about. It's basically that was basically the last piece that he wrote. He didn't finish it, but he wrote it pretty much on his deathbed. So he was 35. He was on his deathbed, and long story short, he was very sick and very delusional. And somebody showed up at his door, a masked figure, a very mysterious figure, and basically convinced him that he needed to write this requiem and he needed to compose this, right? And he felt like, I mean, he was not in the right state of mind, and he basically felt like it was some sort of omen, and he basically convinced himself that he was writing his own requiem, right? Which is like kind of like a death song, right? Something that's played at like a funeral or something like that. So he basically, him and another composer basically, wrote it. He basically gave the instructions. Somebody else wrote it. He died before it was completed. And it was just it's such an interesting story. Like you see all this history kind of transcribed from hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And basically who ended up convincing him to write this work was a man who wanted him to write the requiem for, I believe, his late wife, right? And basically convinced Mozart to write it. And there was kind of this whole battle between Mozart being able to claim it was his posthumously, because this other person who convinced him to write it wanted to pass it off as his work, right? And Beethoven had, a kind of word on the matter. This kind of was like the final word. It was like, if Mozart didn't write this music, then it was a Mozart who wrote it, right? Which is just to show you how respected he was and how his work was, considered basically godly, right? Which is what, like, if you listen to the Requiem, and if people don't know who like if you're a hip hop fan, if you've heard Meek Mill, Lord Knows, they sample the Requiem in the instrumental. So like if you listen to it, it's literally like hearing God. Like that's the best way I can describe it. Like it's fucking just go listen to it. Long story short, this movie came out in 1984. It killed the Oscars, won 8 Oscars, won best movie, best adapted screenplay, won best actor. And I had watched this movie about 6-7 years ago, and I was kind of shocked it came out in 1984. The 80s are a decade of movies that are kind of just like 80s music, right? It's just fucking weird, right? Yeah. You think of 80s movies, you think of Pretty in Pink, you think of The Breakfast Club. It's just a whole different vibe, right? With the movies. There were a lot of serious movies, but Amadeus just kind of sticks out like a sore thumb, being a biographical drama about, in a decade of the kind of music that was in the 80s about Mozart, who's considered like one of the greatest composers ever. So if you know anything about Mozart, I mean, he was considered basically a genius. I mean, he wrote his first symphony at the age of 8. He had 4 violin sonatas composed by the age of, 7. He wrote his first opera when he was like 10. He's just a fucking child genius, right? So this movie, why I love this movie is the premise that it kind of takes, and I won't get into like the historical inaccuracies or facts. It's loosely based, it's dramatized, and it basically centers around 2 characters, and the main character of the movie is not Mozart. It's a composer named Salieri, right? Salieri was a real composer. These 2 people in real life, they were cool. They respected one another. And unfortunately, there was a rumor that was spread that Salieri was the one that killed Mozart. He poisoned him, right? Out of jealousy and whatnot. So this movie kind of plays with that premise. If you think of Salieri as this respected court composer, right? He's nothing extraordinary, but he's respected. He's a court composer, and that's like a big title to have, right? Because you're basically playing for royalty, right? That's your job, right? It's kind of like being in the White House, and your job is to play music for the president, right? Just imagine that's kind of the world you're in, right? And he's comfortable with everything he's got, and then here comes fucking Mozart, right? Mozart just kind of strolls in out of nowhere. And what's funny is that Mozart in the movie is described by how he's also described in real life. Like the director of the movie was like reading Mozart's letters as a child. When around the same time he was composing his symphonies, operas, they were reading letters from him, and he was like, I was shocked. It was like he just sounded like a fucking buffoon. He sounded like an idiot. He sounded like an 8-year-old, right? Like where he's writing a letter to his cousin, not making fart jokes, but that's kind of like how it is, right? And then at night he'll be composing a masterpiece, right? So in the movie, Mozart's kind of depicted this way also, where he's just cackling, making stupid jokes, just like a fucking idiot, right? Then he's just a fucking monster genius, right? Like there's a scene in the movie that kind of identifies it, where Salieri's playing this piece he created for a march, right? And he's playing it for his boss, right? Essentially. and he's playing the piece, and the boss is, oh, this is really good. And Mozart's basically just walking by in the fucking hallway, right? And he ends up making an entrance, and then he was like, oh, like I basically heard that thing you were doing, and I feel like I feel like I could play that, and maybe add something to it. And the guy's like, yeah, well, here's the music. And Mozart's like, I don't need the sheet. He's like, you don't need the sheet. You just heard this like once, right? And then basically Mozart just sits down and he just plays the shit off the fucking top, right? And here you have Salieri looking at him just like, what the fuck is this? And this whole rivalry begins where Salieri is just like, what the fuck is this guy? Like
it's like Walter White and Gale in Breaking Bad. Like Walter White just shows up with like the blue mask. Like,
it's exactly how it is. I was trying to think of a sports reference. Like that's exactly how it is. And he's just looking at this fucking guy where it's like, one of the best quotes I heard about is like, this movie is about the unbridgeable gap between just God-given talent and mediocrity, right?
Yeah.
Where Salieri's like this dude who, at the time, he's the only person that can appreciate how genius Mozart is. He fucking hates him. And the whole movie is basically how he hates his guts. And he's basically trying to like either basically kill him. The movie is about him plotting Mozart's death and trying to ruin him, right? And it's basically being told from this perspective. And you're just going along this kind of rivalry, like cat and mouse game between them. And it's just a fucking great movie, in that regard. And it's fun. It's just those two characters and you're seeing them play this game. And Salieri is just so tortured by how genius Mozart is, to the point where he starts questioning his faith and his religion, because he's asking God, why did you instill this talent in this fucking idiot? You know what I mean? Like, why did you give him this? You know what I mean? Like, you're trying to punish me. You're trying to torture me.
Now were Salieri and Mozart from the same area? Because I know Mozart was Austrian.
Yeah, so when Mozart moved to Vienna, I think that's when he became acquainted with Salieri. And in real life, they were cool. They had no issues. But in the movie, they're kind of playing with some of these rumors that went around that there was a rivalry and that they hated each other. And I just got to say, like, the performance by F. Murray Abraham was so good. It's like the perfect performance. It's like a perfect character performance, but he's kind of the lead. You know what I mean? So, like, this is regarded as one of the most deserved Best Actor awards in Oscar history, right? And if not, like a top 5 best dramatic performance ever by like a lead actor. So it's definitely a recommend. I give it probably like a 9 out of 10. It's a great movie, and it's not even, you don't have to care about like classical music or Mozart to enjoy it. It's just a really good dramatic film, and it's funny, it's dramatic, obviously. And if you don't have a foray into classical music, this is a good one. And it's just a really good movie. I definitely recommend it.
How did you end up watching it? Because this was on my movie list, obviously, and then I wanted to watch it again because you had put it on the agenda. But it ended up being like I couldn't watch it without paying for it. Did you watch it on your IPTV shit?
Long story short, my usual thing is first I take a movie. I have Amazon Prime, I search for it, right? And at that point, I'm either presented with, okay, either it's free on this app, free on this app, free on this app. If it's an app I could download or I already have, I watch it on there. I paid for so many fucking movies. Like I paid $49.99.
I do the same shit. And when I see that $3.99 rental,
exactly, and it's definitely, and a lot of my system was also going to YouTube. YouTube would have a lot of movies for $2.99, $3.99, and I would just end up streaming it from the app. And Amadeus, for example, is on YouTube. That's where I got reminded of the movie because all these clips keep showing. I've been watching clips all week, just amazed by it, just because like the performance is so good. Like you're watching this guy who's just like, it's so subtle, but he's just tortured inside watching this fucking genius just fuck his whole shit up and make him look, dispensable, make him look, you know what I mean? Like it's just so funny.
I can definitely I can appreciate that angle. Like we're trying to focus in on Mozart's genius by way of the jealousy of his counterpart.
Exactly. But that's the thing. He knows how fucking genius he is. Like
exactly. That's what I mean.
That makes it so good. Like he's just like he like there's scenes in the movie where he's describing Mozart's music and like you see his face and he's just going back and forth between wanting him dead and just being in awe of what he's creating. Right. It's just such a and one to me. I had put it in the agenda before, but I took it out because it was a concept that I wanted to talk about that's always kind of plagued my mind. Like I read an article in 2005, and it was about Mozart's genius. And this was around the same time I was like, people had always started people have started throwing the term around genius. Kanye West is a genius, right? Or Michael Jackson's. Well, that's I don't want to say that, but so and so is a genius. Any of Daft Punk are geniuses. You know what I mean? And it just fucking blew my mind because then I started kind of reading about the concept of geniuses throughout time, and it was funny because Mozart, who I do believe was an actual genius, there's a lot of quotes from him, either whether they're credited or not, that he hated the fact that he was called a genius, right? Because it undermined how hard he worked. Right. He basically said, people err on the notion that everything I do comes easy to me. Like, you don't understand how far I've traveled, how much work I've done. And
that he's just inherently genius. Yeah.
That's inherently genius. And I started thinking, I was like, I'd rather be regarded as the most hardworking person in the world than a genius. Right. Because that makes it seem like it comes easy to me, when in actuality, there's so much work I put into my craft. Right. So it's just another concept I probably want to talk about in another podcast, but
definitely. Amadeus, catch it. You're gonna have to shell out your couch change, your pocket change.
The cover art's really amazing too, by the way. I should throw that out there. It looks like a horror movie cover art.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Definitely. So we're gonna stick to music. And speaking of the authenticity and genius of music, this is going to be one hell of a seg. T-Pain hit the airwaves, I believe today or yesterday. I saw it today. My man was bringing up a past conversation with Usher that he had on an airplane, where Usher just blatantly said to his face that he was fucking up music, that he had fucked up music. Did he fuck up music?
No, I feel like T-Pain wrote. I mean, he ushered in like auto-tune's nothing new, by the way, but he made perfect use of this tool. That when T-Pain used it, he did it well, and people don't know the fact that a lot of people don't know the fact that T-Pain can actually fucking sing. Like that was a supplement to his voice, but he actually can't fucking sing. If you haven't seen it, go look at T-Pain's Tiny Desk and some other stuff.
I was just gonna say that NPR Tiny Desk, great voice,
great shit. So I think he made very good use of it. What happened was it got too widespread, too diluted, and the wrong motherfuckers, like Lil Wayne comes to mind, for example. He just got way too oversaturated in the industry, and T-Pain unfairly got the blame pinned on him for bringing this this really popular like marketing and vocal tool to the limelight. But no, he didn't ruin shit. I think what Usher said was fucked up, and I thought that was bullshit.
We talk about movies and our expectations of movies, of what their value is, and we take it at that face value. Like, it's good for what it is,
right? And
T-Pain was good for what he did, right? I always saw T-Pain as one of those hook artists, right? Like that single-handedly made a handful of hits successful just off of him being on the hook.
Sure.
And if you look at some of the prominent hook artists in history, right? There's not many. You think about Pharrell, think about Nate Dogg, right? Like T-Pain was up there. Like if T-Pain carried a rap with him too. Like DJ Khaled introduced him to the industry, and he kind of blew up off of that. And it got to the point where if T-Pain was on your hook, your shit was a jam. And then obviously he had a bunch of singles which were kind of similarly themed across, like the bartender, I'm in love with a stripper, this and that. I'm in love with the bouncer, like we know. But
can I buy you a drink?
Exactly. You take them at that value, and moreover, we talk about the oversaturation. The oversaturation was almost single-handed by T-Pain. Like, it's not like he influenced 55 other T-Pains that just overtook R&B music and said for Usher to come out and say, you fucked up music, like as if Usher was losing airtime because 5 other T-Pains are dropping songs. It wasn't. That wasn't the case.
Right.
I mean, if Usher drops another Confessions, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be overshadowed by fucking.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, I felt bad for T-Pain watching that little interview because he brought up depression.
Yeah.
He brought up him, just kind of falling off the map for the next few years. Just
T-Pain was gone, dude. He was like underground.
He
was completely off the scene.
And to hear that from Usher, and Usher, another one of those guys that, just we saw him coming out of high school just kind of blow up. And I'm an Usher stan personally. Like I would argue that he's the runner up to the King of Pop. You know what I mean? So it hurts.
It's just another thing. Like you said, Usher and T-Pain can definitely share the same space. They bring two different energies, right?
Yeah. And that's another part to the interview where T-Pain kind of complained or was shocked by it. He was like, Usher was my friend. Like, we were cool.
But let's not just leave it at Usher. Remember, Jay made DOA, Death of Auto-Tune. Like, that was his lead single off whatever album that was.
Exactly. Absolutely.
It became like this punchline in the industry for people. But again, when I hear DOA and what Usher's talking about, it's the other people who really made shitty shit, like terrible music with auto-tune. And it definitely got to that point.
It's the marketplace. Like, there's a demand for it, obviously. I don't know the people are listening to it. Like, it's like, if somebody presents something, like, does that change the taste of, like, the mass amount of fans? You know what I'm saying? Like, the mainstream fans who support this, or what?
Right.
Holy
I don't get
shit,
it, man. I don't know. I feel. Well,
yo, son, sorry.
Oh, game winner.
Wow.
Did DeAndre Ayton just throw down a game-winning alley-oop with 0.9 seconds left?
Yep. 0.8.
Show did.
Sorry, I had to. That was.
Now
they're fighting. Oh, wow.
That's got to be offensive interference.
Let's see.
Post-game hoopla going on.
It's okay. We'll have another 10-minute review so we can get through all of detention before this game is finalized.
Yeah.
But who is? I mean, I know we're almost wrapping up here, but like I can't think of what was the last R&B like. I don't listen to the radio, so is it really just gone? Like
the last R&B what?
Like anything. I can't even think of a song from the last 5 years that I even liked. Or Star, yeah. I mean, a lot of the stars aren't really making a lot of music. I feel like that, like a lot of the R&B singers.
Yeah, it's the same few guys have kind of hung around the industry.
Right.
Like the Trey songs and the.
That's interference. Fuck out of here.
Shit, like that type of shit.
Trey songs.
But
bottoms up,
bring it home.
up.
I'm happy that T-Pain, and I listened to the Mike Tyson hotboxing interview. He's got new music on the way. His album's being actively worked on. He's got a good list of guest stars. So I'm glad he's put behind the depression and all the other issues and is coming back to reclaim. And we need T-Pain music. T-Pain makes fun music. He makes fucking hits. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Also resurfacing Trick Daddy. Where the fuck did Trick Daddy come from? This and Beyonce and Jay-Z. If you listen to this soundbite without knowing it's Trick Daddy talking, you would think it's Cedric from Barbershop.
Beyonce ain't trying to get back to music, and that Beyonce doesn't like music, and Betty can sing up motherfuckers. So Beyonce can't sing.
This was Trick on a Clubhouse session.
By the way, how quickly did the Clubhouse fall off? That shit was hot for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Now I don't know anybody who uses it.
Yeah.
I never started. It was too
complicated.
My
wife was pressing me to get on it.
Yeah, I don't like talking to people. Like if I want to fuck with you, I'm gonna text you. So the thought of using my voice in a room with people and getting like, no, I'm not doing that. Oh, Trick Daddy. For a guy that looks like increasingly like a corpse that got pulled from a river.
Corpse.
He somehow manages to stay relevant, and I don't understand why, man. I mean, he had the radio show with Trina.
Though?
He got what's that?
I mean, like it doesn't matter who you are. If you say some crazy shit like this, you're gonna become relevant, right?
So here's a good discussion. Certain people in hip hop, rap and hip hop, are gatekeepers of their city, regardless of how long it's been since they've been on the scene.
And he's Dade County.
Mm-hmm.
Trick is Dade County. Trina is the same way. You go down to, Atlanta's got their gatekeepers, and New York and so on and so forth. So he still has kind of relevance for that reason. But here's the thing. He shit on Jay. The Jay insult it's funny because that's not even getting any discussion compared to the Beyonce insult. Like
Like an
people don't give a
afterthought.
fuck about what Jay. Like he said, Jay's never been the greatest rapper.
Because
Like,
I
oh,
read
fuck
the
that.
whole article and there was like 4 paragraphs about the Beyonce part and like 1 sentence.
Yeah.
Daddy
Jay.
also states that Jay-Z is
Yeah.
Never
Oh,
won
by the way,
Grammy rapper.
yeah. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. If you say Beyonce can't sing, that's objectively a false statement. Like I know music is art and art is subjective.
And I hate
Beyonce,
her music.
Yeah.
But she can fucking sing.
She can fucking blow. Like Beyonce's an amazing singer and entertainer. You can feel however you feel about who writes her shit, all that. Beyonce can sing, and this is no doubt about. I'll argue anybody about that. You can be subjective about SZA or fucking Taylor Swift or Solange. Like you can maybe say, well, they sound better with certain production, or this song she sounds great, but this one she sounds. You can't do that with Beyonce.
Yeah. Well, let's say Jennifer Lopez is the opposite extreme. I would say she cannot sing.
J-Lo's a great example.
Yes.
J-Lo can't sing, but she's made it by with a combination of things.
Zayn, she's got Grammys, Zayn.
Fine.
I don't fucking know. I mean, well, that's music is different than singing ability, but
yeah,
that's a popular award also. But
how many Grammys do you have, Zayn? You know I'm going with that.
But yeah, Trick fucked up. He I don't know if he has his own restaurant or he's associated with a restaurant, but other thing, don't ever fuck with Beyonce because her fan base, the Beehive, will fuck
the
your life
Beehive
up.
was on him.
Will fuck your life up.
Beehive was on him.
So his restaurant is down to like a 2 stars on Yelp, and they coming for him, and this chick said he like a fucking corpse. He's got funeral makeup on, like all this. His breath stinks, like all types of shit. Like you're not gonna live that down, and he's paying a price, rightfully so. Don't come for Beyonce.
We're gonna get like a slick subliminal Jay-Z triple entendre one-liner in his one guest song appearance.
With just the word trick, like 3 different definitions.
Yeah. It's gonna be like, used to sell blue magic, but I don't mess with them tricks no more.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how. Double entendre.
Yeah. Yeah, Jay's gonna just do some random verse, like not even a new song. Just he gonna hop on like a fucking, I don't know who's shit, some new Kendrick song coming out.
Some
throw that shit
crazy song with
exactly.
One hotline.
Exactly.
Fucking, what did he say about? He said he's not as.
He said so. Here's what he said about Jay. He said he's never won the greatest. Never won, as this was an award, greatest rapper alive title, and never will. He says that Hov was used to replace Big, and also says DMX was selling more records than Jay.
Just a triple word score of wrong shit.
He said some shit about Hov went on to buy his songs to get put on. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, okay, all right.
It said, I mean, you heard a soundbite. Motherfucker was not coherent. Much at all. Which sucked. I used to fuck with Trick, that one album.
Trick. I'll never forget. I gotta find the tweet. He took a picture of a trunk full of groceries, and he was like, "You young boys don't know shit about this. Like y'all, you think just because you fuck her good, like nah, motherfucker, I'm feeding the house. Like I'm getting like," and he had all these like weird like hashtags in it. So it was great. So yeah.
All right, well, we can throw Trick in detention anytime we want. Usher can do whatever he wants. I'm telling you right now, I'm overriding any future Usher suggestion for detention.
You know what? Usher doesn't like play into anything. Like, remember he was supposed to have like herpes and that shit. He's like, I won't respond. That shit just went away.
Oh, smart. Don't negotiate with terrorists.
All right, man. Well, let's talk about who's in detention this week. All right, y'all. I'm gonna wrap this thing up quick. Juneteenth once again marks a tough week for short white people. We're gonna start things off with John Stockton and Cole Beasley.
What happened with Jeremy Piven? Oh, John Stockton.
Jeremy Piven.
Michael J. Fox did what?
Oh my God! Let's talk, fuck it, man. Hey, listen. Let's talk about Stockton in first here, man. This motherfucker was part of an anti-vaccine documentary, crying like every other COVID disbeliever about their kids and grandkids suffering from a hoax virus that caused everyone to give up their lives in quarantine, yada, yada, yada. And then went on to boast about his significant amount of research, right? And those are the key, the
which is always some bullshit website and some rabbit hole.
Yeah.
YouTube videos. Yeah,
yes,
bad.
sir. and
Truth
find the
about
truth.
COVID.wordpress.
Yeah. Patriottruth.com.
Patriottruth.com.
Yeah. I don't get it. I don't get the adamant like retort and pushback on vaccines and Cole Beasley. We're gonna bring him right up too. This motherfucker put out a 2-page iPhone note about, announcing to refute about his refusal to take the vaccine. Like somebody out there coming out to, profess their sexual orientation. These motherfuckers are professing their fucking lack of intelligence and shit.
They're willing to throw their career. Like it's fucking insane.
Yeah, but no, it's just like their justification. Like
my favorite thing is always, I don't know. I gotta not only do I do my own research, but I don't know what's in it. You don't know what they're putting in your body. Like motherfucker, you drank after your family members at a cookout. Like the fuck out of here.
Hey, like what the fuck are you like?
I don't know what's in it.
But they make it sound like some burden. Like I'm not gonna let it impact my way of living.
They just fucking said that tuna subs at fucking Subway don't have any fucking tuna in them.
That should have been a detention.
That's the worst sandwich.
Subway's on that bullshit.
You love them fucking tuna sandwiches too, don't you, motherfucker?
Yeah. Hey, I don't know about the vaccine.
I will die on this hill. Subway's tuna is the worst tuna of any sandwich shop.
It's not even fucking tuna. So
and
not a lot of good things come out of Subway. Period. So yeah.
I fuck with Subway because I'm a vegetarian person. Get all the veggies, eat a little bit healthy.
Subway's weird. Subway's just I don't know.
There's better options. Like I just don't understand why.
There's always a better option, but sometimes there's not.
Why? Yeah.
I like their meatball marinara a lot.
This America, man. There's always fucking Jimmy John's down the street. Yeah, I can't.
A meatball sub from Subway.
Now, see, if we're gonna talk about sandwich shops, like I'll take Potbelly. I'll take Jersey Mike's. I'll take Firehouse over Subway
all day.
All day. Trust me. Don't get me wrong, bro.
Yo, Firehouse blew me up one day, bro. I almost had to leave work early. Fucking rock my shit, man.
It's good. Anyway, lets you know you're still alive. Makes you feel alive. Man.
Oh man. All right, man. Enough with these motherfuckers, man. I'm gonna leave it right there. We're gonna wrap it up. Nick Cannon. Hey, come on, man. Hey, keep it in your fucking pants for once. Hey, strap your shit up. I don't know what you're trying to prove, the potency of your fucking semen.
That motherfucker got a great Father's Day.
This motherfucker's got multiple sets of twins from like
he can go on
all his baby mama's beautiful, man. Motherfucker got the best pregnancy photo shoots. Like them shits are like just like the standard, the bar, like for pregnancy shoots. This motherfucker This motherfucker got the pregnant woman kissing his belly, all that shit, like
rubbing his turban and shit. Yeah.
But listen, man, hey, you can't father all these little shits, man. Like, I get it, man. Like, you could. Oh, what are you doing? No one's got any thoughts on Nick Cannon.
Well, wait, I didn't even know. So, what he had his 13th kid?
7th kid, I think.
7th.
But one of he had a set of twins, and one of the twins is first name Zillion, middle name Air. I do remember that.
Fucking lame.
Yeah.
Zillion. Okay, cool. And an Air, really.
We're gonna do a bit. We're gonna do a bit in the future about people naming their kids just the weirdest shit, just to be. And I got a whole bunch of them.
It started with whoever named their child Apple. Like that's when the crazy shit started.
Was
it Apple? Who was that? That was.
I think that was Chris Martin, the Coldplay. And
Gwyneth Paltrow named her daughter. What was it? Was it Apple too, or no? Was it this, or she didn't marry him, did she?
Gwyneth Paltrow was pregnant by me.
Gwyneth Paltrow was pregnant by me. Off the books.
Yeah, Apple. Yeah, so Gwyneth Paltrow and that was Chris Martin.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's why I love you, man. All right, man. That's a wrap, man. We got morals to the podcast. Keep your shit in your pants. Get vaxxed.
Don't do your own research. Do real research. Actually, cite a medical journal.
Yeah.
Hit up Neil for science.
Here we go.
All the science.
Scientific stallion.
Knowledge bone. What the science, baby?
Science, baby.
That comes right before your favorite part in the movie, the banana scene from Belly.
Yeah.
Knowledge bone. What the science, baby? We gotta say that more often. What the science?
The illest nigga in Nebraska.
We're never.
I forgot they were in Nebraska.
On this podcast, by the way.
Oh man.
Oh god.
We're never reviewing that movie on this podcast, by the way.
Man.
Oh man. All right, y'all. for Neil, for Zane, for Jamal, for myself, Abdullah, Participation Trophy Podcast. We out.